Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It is I, Captain Logan. Predictably, and joining me as always is my chat moderator and son co-host, Jason.
We never saw you coming.
Good to see everybody. Yeah, you figured it'd be the Captain Logan Show with, some guy, I guess Bob, the Captain Logan Show starring Bob, but no. You got actually Captain Logan Show. We actually have 3 little trailers to talk about tonight, and I say little because they're for things that we've already kind of talked about some. So I don't want to spend like a ton of time on them.
Technically 4, but I don't know how much time we'll spend on them.
4?
We got 3 MCU trailers. And then,
right. What's the other one?
Mission Impossible 8.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't watch that. I haven't seen the last one, so I probably wouldn't have watched that.
I watched the first half of that trailer, and I was like, wait.
I've never seen one of these
movies.
Yeah, but as far as superhero stuff goes, I didn't realize a Thunderbolts trailer, and they called it a sneak peek, maybe because it's a little longer. Is that why they called it that? I don't know what any of these terms mean anymore. I don't know what a teaser versus a trailer versus a sneak peek. The only thing that I can be sure what it is when they tell us is clip or first 10 minutes.
Yes.
I can be fairly certain that first 10 minutes means the first 10 minutes.
Yes.
Whether they're 5 or 2 or, whenever they do that kind of thing.
Yeah, but like teaser trailers, like there's teaser trailer inflation now.
What does that mean?
Like a teaser trailer is like 2 minutes.
Inflation in that it's basically a trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had people come at me, complain when I've put trailer in a title when it's officially a teaser. And I don't even know what the difference is anymore. And I think sometimes you'll even have different outlets that'll call it different. Sometimes too,
Yeah,
like you just can't tell. So I guess the first one that comes out is supposed. We've talked about this before. I guess the first one that comes out is a teaser, no matter what the length it is, and then you get trailer 1, et cetera, et cetera.
And then if it comes out in a Comic-Con, then it's either a Comic-Con trailer or a sneak peek.
Yeah,
then there's
like
also
Comic-Con exclusive, but then they release it later.
But then there's also
and then is that the
TV
official first
spots?
trailer? Yeah, and TV spots are more straightforward because they have to be trimmed down.
Yes.
They have to be a particular length. But anyway, I digress. My plan for trailers tonight was to just talk about the first full-blown Captain America trailer, if that first thing is supposed to be a teaser, and then I will just briefly mention What If Season 3, which I have no investment in, but I know you sort of wanted to talk. Yeah, I did.
No, I didn't really want to talk about it, but there's a couple things that are like...
Well, it sounded like you expected us to bring it up, so I watched it. But then there's also one for Thunderbolts, it turns out, so we went ahead and watched that just before the show here, so we'll give you our very fresh thoughts about that. And we're going to open... the news section anyway with the statement that Denzel Washington made recently about Black Panther 3, and I've got a few other little news articles to deal with as well. Thanks for being here live. We sure appreciate you. Thanks for watching this after the fact. If you're watching right now, we would love to have a full-blown conversation with you throughout the show. Leave questions and comments and topics for conversation, and we will get to as many things as we can. If you want to make absolutely certain that your question or idea is discussed on air, you can leave a super chat in the dollar amount, and that guarantees that we will answer that for you. We'll do Q&A in the second half, but you can leave super chats about whatever we're talking about in the first half, and we'll make sure and front load those and get to them very lickety split. But you can leave super chats or regular comments at any point during the show, and we'll hit all of them, at least super chats, by the end of the show, and non-super chat questions we'll try to get to as many as we can, and make sure to tag Jason with those. That's at Jason's Video Game Secrets, at Jason, so then, there's probably no reason to put all the video game I thought there was like music or something happening, but I guess it was just noise upstairs. Yeah. I was like, is my phone going? Like, what is happening? Anyway, and then I don't know if you guys could even hear that. And anyway, you guys know the spiel. At
what else can they call me?
At Jason, at Eye of the Storm.
Yes.
He'll answer to any of these things and more. Jason, I'm wearing a Metal Sonic shirt. I'm still hoping against hope that Metal Sonic appears in Sonic 3. Not that I'm like super stoked for that movie regardless, but that'd be the one thing that it could have that would make me go, yay, something for me as a Sonic fan. You know what? I'm holding out hope. I think it's possible.
It won't, because you know why? Metal Sonic's not in Sonic Adventure 2, so...
Sure, but they might not, only put Sonic Adventure 2 things in it.
Sure.
They might try to blindside us by the end. I think there's two good arguments for Metal Sonic shows up in Sonic 3.
I think Metal Sonic
And you're right, it probably won't. But there's... What are you going to say?
I think Metal Sonic could... I mean, it could be the after credit scene that they've teased, but it could...
Or are they saying there's a setup for something else that's going to be in the after credits? Okay, so it's possible it's that, although I doubt it.
Yeah.
I'm
hoping it's chaotic.
If Metal Sonic shows up, it'll be a big third act kind of twist thing. I would think. So my two arguments for maybe Metal Sonic are A, it'll be like Super Sonic was finally at the end of the second movie, where he turns yellow, he's super... The whole thing they were going to do in the first movie, they axed. They finally did it. It would be kind of a way to get something sort of like that again, where it's like, oh, this big thing that we didn't tell you about that wasn't in any of the advertisement, right? And the second thing is Sonic is teaming up with Robotnik in that movie.
Yes.
And Robotnik might have a Metal Sonic stashed away somewhere as a special thing that he could fight Shadow with.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So that's my other argument for maybe we'll get that. I hope
Speaking of Sonic 3, we got some new images for that, which they actually look pretty cool. So, yeah. I mean, I'm holding out hope that that's at least a story. Mm-hmm. And then we also got...
Should I look them up? What are we looking at?
Yeah, just there's some new images set,
just new images.
New images that...
Now I'm looking.
The thing fell off of the...
What fell off?
Mic. It's behind your chair.
What? Oh. I mean, that's not super important, but...
No, it's not.
All right. You're really articulate. I'm glad you explained that so well.
But yeah, we got rain.
Are these the images you're talking about?
Yeah, we got rain.
Let's take a look. Oh, cool. Look, it's Shadow in the rain.
Yeah. And then...
I guess that's cool.
Yeah.
And then there's Shadow hanging out with Robotnik and his dad, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So doing that whole thing. And are those supposed to be like...
I have no idea.
Well, at first glance, I thought maybe that was like their version of KOs.
Oh, KOs, yeah.
Oh, they are going to do KOs. Okay. Yeah. Well, because that's Sonic Adventure 2.
Right.
So like I've complained about with this movie, I don't know why I just suddenly started launching into Sonic 3. Like I've complained about before with this movie, I think we're finally going to get a movie that's not going to stray too far away from actual Sonic stuff.
Yeah.
And mythology, and it's going to be after they dealt with all the stuff I care about.
Yeah.
That makes me kind of sad.
And we also got
maybe we won't get another thing like the stupid wedding or bowling or...
We also got a quote from the director, I think, or the writer, or whatever, where it's like we're really happy with the Shadow and Maria stuff, and like it's maybe our best stuff that we've done for the series, and it's like that's cool, because maybe that'll be at least better than. Because that stuff's really boring in Shadow the Hedgehog.
Maybe they'll write the human stuff out just very quickly.
Yeah.
It just seems like...
Hopefully. Well, I mean, they won't because Maria is human.
At the start of this franchise, it seemed like they had people that just didn't care at all about this franchise and were just looking for something else they could rope into the standard family family movie formula. And now it's looking like they either brought in people that care about Sonic but are of the generation after mine and are all about the 3D stuff, or they're those people liked that stuff in the first place, but the studio held them back and didn't let them do anything with it.
Yeah.
Because, if all of this had started from adapting more from 3D stuff in the first place, I would not be complaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That'd be fine. It's just that we started from a place where we didn't care about the mythology at all. And then we did a Sonic 2 where we made a big deal out of, iconography from the Sonic 2 game. And then we went, now that we've got Shadow, we're going to actually do Sonic things.
Yeah. I'm just
Anyway.
hoping that Sonic 4 is Sonic Heroes so that we can have Chaotix.
Well,
Because that would be the only reason they do that.
it'd be fun if we did like kind of a detective mystery thing with the Chaotix, because I'm one of the
But the thing is,
few people
that
on the planet
Knuckles is so dumb.
No, that's true. I mean, you'd almost have to reinvent them or have him go through some kind of a
Puberty.
weird change. Well, his voice can't get any lower. He's Idris Elba.
That's a good point.
But no, I was just gonna say, I actually kind of like Detective Pikachu. I wouldn't mind a Knuckles Chaotix thing, or you could do the Chaotix. I mean, this is gonna sound like blasphemy to some people, but you're right. I don't think the Idris Elba version really fits with that. You could do Chaotix without him.
Yeah, you can.
Just give me like a mighty Charmy Bee, who's the armadillo. All those guys. Well, no. It is Mighty the Armadillo, isn't it?
Mighty the Armadillo.
Who am I thinking about?
Vector.
I'm thinking. Yeah, Vector, and then is there a chameleon? Vector
Yes.
the crocodile, and then.
I didn't actually play this game that much.
Well, yeah, but the Chaotix show up in other things as a group.
That I also didn't really play.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm
somebody
not a Sonic guy.
Somebody will tell us. I can't remember right now, but. Anyway, I wildly digress. Let's go ahead and open with a Patreon question, as we always do. SBO, there you go. SBO. Charmy is the B, Dan's then. I mentioned that already. John says Sonic 3 looks better than the first two, in my opinion. I mean, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. It just makes me kind of sad.
Yeah.
That it looks so much better after they got through the
Hopefully
stuff
they'll go
that I
back
wanted.
to Sonic Mania, and that might be cool.
Oh, sure, yeah. Give me Ray and...
Yeah, and then
Again, Mighty.
Yeah.
Be kind of a cool segue, you do Mighty and Ray, and then Mighty leads us to the Chaotix.
Yeah.
Do something like that. Give us a Patreon question, Jason.
Okay.
And you can subscribe to Patreon at just the $2 tier and get a question in ahead of time each month. Go ahead, sir.
And you can ask questions just like this one.
Hopefully not just like this one. We'll have already answered it.
Yeah. This is a question from Sakib Tariq, and he asks,
Oh, no.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
And not even if a woodchuck could chuck wood, just...
How much wood could it chuck?
Could it chuck? Why, this seems to me like a depends question, Jason. I think it probably just depends on the woodchuck,
Yeah.
It depends on the size.
It depends if it could chuck wood.
Of the woodchuck and how much woodchucking experience this woodchuck has had. No, a lot. Woodchucks can chuck a lot of wood, man. That's what they were born to do,
Yeah. It mainly just depends on if the woodchuck could chuck wood.
It's like asking how much an ant could lift. It's like, well, I mean, some degree past its own weight. I don't know what that number is.
How many woodchucks do you think does it take to screw a light bulb?
I can't see. That has to be there has to be a punchline to that. That's a joke, and I can't think of a great punchline. Anyway, is that really going to be our opening Patreon question? Sakib, we appreciate the effort, maximum effort. Speaking of, Deadpool and Wolverine dropped on Disney Plus today or yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of itching to watch it again.
Yeah, me too.
I really enjoyed them. We used to do commentaries pretty shortly after the superhero movie would drop, but now that we're doing the Superhero Rewind commentary project, it gets kind of redundant, because you do it and then later on you're going to do it again.
2 years.
So, that's true. So I probably won't do that right away, but anyway, and like you said, 2 years, so it'll be at least that long before we get to it on the project. But 2 years to me these days feels like 2 months. How are we already nearly at Christmas?
I don't know. Didn't we just have Christmas?
I feel like we just did that.
Like, I remember, vividly Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what?
Kind of doesn't feel like it's been a whole year. Now, I think you're getting into years as a teenager where your time is going to start moving faster than it did as a kid.
Really fast, yes.
But probably nothing like what I'm experiencing with 6 kids and being 40, and it's pretty nutty, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just got a bunch of my Christmas shopping done, which is kind of early for me, at least, getting as much of it done as I have already. I'm doing mostly online this year. So it's nice to get that behind me. You're not as stressed out getting into the holiday season. So that's really good. Although I'm afraid I'm going to get to Black Friday and to Cyber Monday, and I'm going to start kind of second guessing doing it that early, because I'm worried that deals are going to pop up for things I bought.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be, oh, if I just waited, I could have gotten that for like $10 cheaper than I paid for it.
Yeah. I'm probably going to save up for Black Friday because I might get some video games.
That's a good idea.
There's always really, really good like Steam deals and stuff, so.
Nintendo just announced their deals, they're like official deals.
Yes, I saw that.
Through the kind of big four retailers. And some of those retailers will have their own things also. But the official Nintendo stuff, kind of stingy, kind of sucks.
Really?
They're
I saw that they did that. I didn't look
you
into
would
it.
have expected them to maybe, try a little harder liquidating stuff. I mean, it is Nintendo. But so I mean there is that.
That's why I didn't click on the.
But I might have expected them to liquidate and have some nicer deals this year, just because we know the Switch 2 or whatever the name of the successor is going to be is about to get announced.
That's a good point.
And the talk I'm hearing right now is we'll get an official announcement by March. And then the thing is supposed to come out probably the end of that year. So I would be really surprised I would be very surprised if it wasn't Christmas.
It's very close to how the Switch went.
That's true. Now, when we did a show on this like a year ago, we thought it would be Christmas maybe this year, but they weren't ready to pull the trigger on it yet. So we did get
That means it's going to be huge.
We did get an official announcement that you told me about recently. For anybody that doesn't know, where Nintendo has promised that the next system will indeed be backward compatible. I always figured it would be, but it's nice to have that confirmation, and that it will be using the same infrastructure with the online. So everything is going to... Now, I hope they overhaul it and make it better, but it's all going to get roped in.
Yeah.
That's very good news.
I was thinking that they were going to do that because they just announced Nintendo Music, which uses Nintendo Switch Online and like stuff like that.
You're right. That's a pretty good tip of the hat.
And it's like... Okay, well, hopefully you still use it, or we're not going to get to listen to your, like, 10 soundtracks that you put on here that you're, like...
But yeah, there's a couple of okay deals with... And by the way, this is all hard copy stuff, so who knows what the actual... or what the online's going to do. Now, they might have the exact same deals... for digital download, I don't know. But the best deal... So I said it kind of sucks. There's not very many of them, and some of it is a little less than you would expect with games that have been around for quite a while. They have dropped Mario Odyssey down to $30, which is the cheapest it's ever been.
Okay, wow.
So that's nice. That's the one really, really cool one. I also think that the majority of people that want that will have it by now.
Yes.
And they're not doing a huge deal on the systems, which is the big thing I thought they might do. Or like I thought they might drop it another, $50, maybe even $100 just to move a bunch of them before their next system comes out. But no such luck. The main system, they're still selling at like $300, I think, with a game.
Okay.
And that's I think like the Mario Kart bundle, and then maybe there's another one. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into some news stuff, Jason.
Ooh, news.
All right, so we begin with the aforementioned Denzel Washington quote. Denzel Washington has basically confirmed a movie before the MCU, before Feige has even come out and officially announced it.
Yeah, people were like, wait, is Marvel going to get mad at him?
Yeah, that was kind of my first question.
Yeah.
Maybe it's far off enough and assumed enough that someday this will happen that Marvel's thinking, it's not a big deal because it's probably at least a couple of phases off, and so like someday everybody. So this is Denzel Washington really kind of getting ahead of himself, where he's basically announced his retirement, but then said like 6 projects he's going to do before he retires. So he is 70 or pushing 70. And he's going, I want to retire. Here's all the things I'm planning to do and would like to do before that happens. And with as many things as are here, I would assume he's still got 5 or 10 years left before he actually, officially flat out retires. It's also crazy to think Denzel Washington is that old. Because, I mean, first of all, he doesn't look it. Like, he's one of those guys that you just kind of forget is getting older. But anyway, the same was true, by the way. I've got this on my list to talk about, but I guess I'll get ahead of myself for a second. But the same was true of Tony Todd, who just passed away a few days ago at 69. And that's a guy I just never thought about his age, you know? Like, he just didn't seem to age. Now, part of that's also because he was constantly doing voiceovers and things. Like, I'm hearing him as much as I'm actually seeing the man. And he was starting to show his age a little bit. But, like, hey, it's Tony Todd. You know, that guy's always going to be there. He's the character actor that never dies. Yeah. He had 240 roles or something. But anyway, so this is from Variety. Denzel Washington says Black Panther 3 will be one of his last movies before he retires. Chadwick Boseman once declared there's no Black Panther without Denzel. And I doubt if that quote has anything to do with his deciding to do the movie. The point of that was just, you know, his paving the way for a project like that with his career and movies that he had made. But it sounds like he wants to do this so that he can work with Ryan Coogler, and it sounds like a thing that they've kind of bandied about for a bit. It also sounded like such a almost in passing thing to say that, like you said, you know, it didn't even occur to him that Marvel has not officially announced this is a movie. Like, maybe for him it's just a foregone conclusion that everybody knows they're going to make a Black Panther 3. Like, of course. It's not exactly foregone, given that that last movie wasn't wonderfully well received, and I think it did okay at the box office. Nothing probably compared to the first, although I'd have to go and actually look at the numbers, but that first movie was such a phenomenon. I'm sure it more than made its money back, but it's also not necessarily a foregone conclusion that there must be a Black Panther 3 or any time in the near future, just because they don't really have a Black Panther anybody's excited about. That is a franchise about a world right now more than it's about a character. Like, it's more kind of Wakanda now than it is Black Panther. So, like, yeah, you do have an official Black Panther by the end of that movie and Shuri, but nobody on the planet seems to be all that excited about her. Mm-hmm. And I was initially, and then I didn't really love that movie. I thought Letitia Wright did as well as she could with that material, but like, I thought she was all right, but I didn't think the script was very good. Mm-hmm. At least with where her stuff was concerned. It's a mixed bag before it's terrible. Mm-hmm. Not to just sit here and review that again, but
I don't think I...
Was anybody sitting around going, when are they going to finally announce Black Panther 3?
No, I wasn't. I don't think I would watch that second movie again, just because I really didn't like what they did with the Wakandan stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I reviewed that with you, but yeah, that's like my review on it. I didn't hate it like going into it, and I almost didn't even go to the theater to see it. Like, I really didn't want to watch it, but I did. It's fine, but I don't need to see it again, and I don't need a third one.
So he says, so he's on the press tour for Gladiator 2. That's when this came up. Okay. Also kind of odd that he chose to do that movie. But we'll see how that does. I don't know that anybody's going to see that. Is that already out, or is that just about to come out, or?
I think that's like about to come out. I think.
I'm a little out of the loop now. I haven't been to the theater in a few weeks, and we were reviewing movies almost every week there for a while with so much superhero and genre stuff we cared about coming out, and then the last few weeks I just haven't made it. I was gonna review Saturday Night. I had a few people that wanted to come on and do a panel with that. And then time got away from us. We were doing on location movie shoots.
Oh, yeah.
For the Superhero Rewind movie, and I was not able to get to the theater to see that. So maybe we'll do it when it comes out on digital, which probably won't be very long. But anyway, so he's saying he's doing he's doing eventually a film adaptation of Othello, and it sounds like he's got this kind of like laundry list of like bucket list things that he hasn't gotten to yet, and he wants to finally do them. So he says he's gonna play Hannibal, and he's gonna do something with Steve McQueen. And then this came up because he wants to work with Coogler, and Coogler has offered him a role. So the big question is, as I put in the thumbnail, what is it? What is the role there? And somebody made a joke before we started tonight that he shows up for just 30 seconds in the in the astral plane, and that's it. You know, I thought that was pretty funny.
He could be a Black Panther. And
Omari Daniels.
And if he is a Black Panther, then who would be the Panther's wife?
I got that joke. That was wonderful. Well done. Eventually, you need to see Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Which is the obvious go-to for his greatest film performance, but of what I've seen, I think that's his best performance. He's amazing. Although there's lots of Denzel Washington stuff I've missed. Anyway, so for a while there was a rumor swirling around. Apparently, the idea of him in the MCU has been bandied about a lot lately, and it turns out there's truth in it. But it's for Black Panther 2. So or 3, pardon me. So retroactively, he's going to be in Black Panther 2. There was a rumor going around that they're going to do a physical manifestation of Dormammu in Doctor Strange 3, and that's who Denzel Washington was going to play. That he was going to come in and be a physical version of Dormammu. And Austin told me about that, and he was like, oh god, I don't want that. Because Dormammu is one of the best things about the first Doctor Strange movie, and neither of us, Austin or I, want to see him, turn into a person and have to come onto screen. And
well, yeah, but if he has to turn into a person, then Denzel Washington is like the best.
If it has to be anybody, like I guess that's cool, but hilarious. I don't really want that. So anyway,
I want that.
I'm kind of glad that's not happening, not knowing what they're doing. Now, I guess kind of obvious guesses would be some kind of flashback thing where he's like an earlier king or something. I guess he could be a villain. Mm-hmm. But do you really want like yet another Wakandan outcast guy that turns out to be your villain? Because the problem is he's this very larger than life kind of figure, and he's gonna just show up in Black Panther 3 and we've never seen him in Wakanda. Like, where's he been? Like, who is this guy? And so I'm trying to think of kind of off the beaten path sorts of character ideas where it would make sense for him to just show up when he hasn't been around before. So my kind of out there guess, which is probably not what they're going to do, but the best thing I can come up with is it's post phase 6 or where are we at, right? We're in 5. It's like at the tail end of 6 or post 6. We've got a soft reboot with Secret Wars, and we use that as an opportunity to reset the board a little bit with Black Panther, and he is a recast T'Chaka who never died. Mm-hmm. But do I really buy that even at this late date, Marvel will finally see the error of their ways, in my humble opinion, and recast T'Challa? Like, let us have a new T'Challa that's not Chadwick Boseman, even with a soft reboot. Nah, I don't really trust that. But I guess that's wishful thinking. But that's the only thing I can think of, is that he would be like a recast T'Chaka. Mm-hmm. Or I guess he could be T'Chaka in flashbacks.
Yeah.
And we now have sort of precedent with now that we've recast Thunderbolt Ross. But that's not a flashback thing. But I'm just saying, like, it seems like big iconic characters that we thought of as this is the only person that we'd ever want to play this character are off the table. But elderly men that are recurring, maybe we can recast those guys. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. So I don't have like a great guess, but that's the best thing I can come up with.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think it'll be a major role?
I don't know.
And like how major?
Yeah.
I would assume something supporting on the level of Thunderbolt Ross in the new Captain America, but then that's all the way to like a villain role too.
Yeah.
Because we're going to ultimately have a president that turns into a Red Hulk and becomes the big thing for our hero to fight at the end.
I'm your president.
So anyway, anything else you want to say about this, or should we use that to segue into the Captain America trailer?
Yeah, let's segue into the Captain America trailer. America.
I adore the way that movie is being advertised.
Yeah. I
love it.
Yeah.
It looks like a proper sequel to Winter Soldier that we never got. Mm-hmm. And what makes me timid about it, I'm still very cautiously optimistic. I'm worried, and I've kind of said this before, but with with all the reshoots and like how late this is coming out finally, and with who the initial writers were, even if they've been replaced reportedly, being the folks that wrote Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm concerned that the quality of the movie is not going to live up to the advertising. Like, it looks like this really cool, sleek, again, just the way that they're packaging it, like espionage thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look like anything the MCU has put out in at least the last couple of phases. Yeah. Like, they're back to, it looks like, letting a thing be in whatever the subgenre it is, and like, yes, it's superhero, but it's pivoting over here to this other kind of movie, and we haven't really seen anything like that since Eternals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
I mean, you could say Guardians 3 to a degree, in just being of the flavor of the the science fantasy of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
But
this is also kind of like a new thing.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's a Captain America movie, but like it's a new thing.
It makes me really wish Falcon and Winter Soldier was better, because it's so easy to write that off for me, that I'm coming into this as fresh as I can, even though with that second trailer especially, there's a lot of sequel material where we're kind of treating that show as the first Anthony Mackie Captain America movie. And I'm coming into this thinking, oh, it's like Winter Soldier, but you didn't get your first, like, triumphant, like, traditional Captain America movie with Falcon first. Mm-hmm. I wish we had that, because Falcon and Winter Soldier was also kind of a poor man's Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
And anyway, I'm hoping that all the stuff that second trailer is doing with the kind of Ang Lee type, like comic panels, like picture-in-picture stuff, I hope the movie's like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet it won't be, but I hope it is.
Yeah. I actually really like that. I thought that was cool.
That's the kind of stylish crap you don't get in the MCU, and I would love to see that.
Yeah.
It's so like 70s spy thriller, like,
and doing that with a trailer, you get to see more, because it's like half and half, so you get to see more stuff.
What a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a strategy there.
Yeah.
I loved the, like, split down the middle with Harrison Ford, Mackie's face.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like, when was the last time something with MCU looked this artistic?
Yeah.
Just the way they're packaging it. I don't know if the movie itself will be.
Even Eternals didn't look stylistic at all.
I mean, it's got its moments.
Yeah. But, like, this especially seems like something that I would like.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that it lives up
to...
Because the problem with Falcon and Winter Soldier is... it also looked cool.
That's it, yeah.
And
they sold it right.
And it was cool for the first, like, 2 episodes.
That's what I thought.
So I'm hoping that this is cool all the way through.
I will probably go back and rewatch that show, even though I don't care for it.
Me too.
Just to kind of give it another shot. And, I mean, I'm sure I will walk out of that still disappointed in the same way I was, but I'll get some distance from it. And then the other reason is... so much of what's in that new movie is direct sequel stuff with that, but also the same is true for Thunderbolts. And this is a conversation we've not really had yet. Isn't it interesting that the only two... Am I right? There's only 2 MCU movies next year, right? Or is Fantastic Four at the end of the year?
Is at the end of the year,
okay,
right?
So before we get to... I think that's right. So before we get to Fantastic Four, the very next 2 things they're going to put out are both, in their way, direct sequels. And there's other MCU material in them, of course, that call back to and are technically kind of sequel-y to other things. But by and large, both of those projects, Brave New World and Thunderbolt Asterix, both of these are direct sequels to Falcon and Winter Soldier. And we took the 2 title characters of that show and we split them off and gave them each their own movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's also nice that only one of them is a team thing, because we cannot get away from that. And Winter Soldier was an actual honest-to-God singular character thing. I mean, even First Avenger feels more teamy than Winter Soldier does, and it doesn't have that too much. But you know, it's still got the Howling Commandos and all of that. Like you get to Winter Soldier, and he teams up with Black Widow, and he teams up with Falcon. And they all help each other, but it still feels like a singular character piece.
Yeah.
Or at least that you have this one guy whose name is in the title that drives the whole thing. And Anthony Mackie's movie is going to be that way.
Yeah, this feels like that.
So I really appreciate that. It's too bad Bucky couldn't have gotten that treatment. And I bet some people are pushing against this a little bit just because they wanted Bucky to get the shield in the first place, and he's getting the more kind of B-list, cornier, jokey, like Suicide Squad knockoff or Guardians knockoff thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge Bucky fan. I loved him as the antagonist for Winter Soldier, but past that, like, he's fine. I don't get super excited about that character for whatever reason. But that's not fair to that guy.
Yeah.
That's not fair to Sebastian Stan or to that character.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, that's part of why I'm not excited about Thunderbolts, is just because it doesn't. The humor doesn't feel right. Like it just doesn't, like. It kind of offsets the whole thing. Like.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that sneak peek, shall we? Real mixed bag.
Yeah.
In the stuff that I thought actually looked fun and cinematic. And by the way, everything about Brave New World looks really cinematic to me. Red Hulk is kind of your typical Marvel CG. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
That's all right.
It is really weird seeing Harrison Ford's face in that character.
It's really funny. It looks really funny.
I may buy an action figure of that just because of how weird that is.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to put that in Carbonite stat.
Yes.
Because it's hilarious.
Yes.
But with Thunderbolts, little bits of it, little sleeker, a little more stylized, or maybe I shouldn't even say stylized, but just more cinematic looking than I expected. It looks like there's more effort in that put in that movie than I thought there might be. Humor from just what we saw with that trailer, with that sneak peek, really hit and miss. Rolled my eyes at he's trying to make the weapon happen with the buttons he's pushing in the car, and they turn on the radio, and it's a pop song. Aha. Hi.
We've already done that.
Like 115 times.
Yeah.
But then when you get that bit where who is the character in the back seat that's like, yay, and then oh no, we're gonna die. I don't even know which character that was. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
When like Bucky saves them and then immediately throws one of his like Winter Soldier exploding disc things.
Yeah.
It is just surreal to me that all I can think about looking at Brave New World is Winter Soldier, and then the very next trailer I watched is Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know why I haven't thought about this or talked about it before now, but it's very strange that it feels like we made two sequels. It doesn't feel like
Winter Soldier.
And isn't it all like Winter Soldier? Yeah. You know, intentionally so. That cast actually kind of looks fun together.
See, I don't agree with that. I'm hoping that they work together, like, through a movie, but there are a couple of characters that I just don't want to have to sit through for 120 minutes.
They're starting to win me over on the dynamic that at least they're selling, because as I always say, trailers just try to get you to go to the theater, so I don't know what it's really going to be like, but it looks like there's potential for these guys to maybe be kind of fun together, I think. I've also had more experience with all of them than you have, because some of these trailers are your introduction to, like, you've not seen Red Guardian yet.
No, and I already can't stand him.
But see, I think you might like him in Black Widow. He's one of the standouts in that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I really like the second Black Widow a lot. I think she's great. She gets stuff to do in... These things all blend together to me now because I don't go back to them because a lot of them are not great. the thing I'm about to say notwithstanding, but like I liked Hawkeye pretty well, and she's in that, and I think that's the show she's in, and I liked her quite a bit in that. So I'm sort of looking forward to seeing more of her, and Ghost is so whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what. And then U.S. Agent, I loved and then didn't.
Yeah.
In that show. And so that's probably the character I'm most curious to see how they kind of like reinvent and retool.
Yeah. I just can't really tell from the trailers how they're going to work together, but I don't know. I just don't care about any of these characters. Like, even, like, I don't care about them as characters in the first place. So,
well, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm not ecstatic because of any one of those characters are in that movie, but it's possible that you put them all together and there's a cool team dynamic, and suddenly I kind of like them all more. Mm-hmm. But no, going into it, I'm not like yay. I'm not even all that yay with Falcon in his movie. I guess he's not Falcon anymore. I guess now with Sam Wilson in his movie, just because I didn't care for where we left him in the last thing we saw him in.
Sure.
And what I want to say is, I'm going back and forth between these movies. What I want to say, Jason, is it's kind of sad he's not having any fun anymore. But then the movie he's in,
it looks like he's having a lot of fun.
Well, no, I'm saying the character, like he's so no nonsense and serious, but that seems like the movie they're making.
Sure.
So I can't really complain about that. But I'm not going to go in and have like the rousing, fun Falcon experience that maybe I would. But then I don't want it to be a comedy. Like, I want what they're making.
Yeah.
But I also like that guy's sense of humor. So I hope that gets to come out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he's a nice point of, I don't even want to say dry levity, but he's not like laugh out loud. He's not like the comic relief or anything of Winter Soldier, but he's a little bit of levity for that movie. Mm-hmm. And now he's the main guy, and he's got the real heavy thing. The other thing I'm a little bit worried about with that movie, though, is it could be too Winter Soldier in plotting. You've got this line where he's like, there's been somebody pulling the strings all along. And I'm like, oh, are we going to do the Hydra reveal again? You know what I mean? Like something like that. Yeah. I mean, if it's like a singular character, and we haven't really seen anything from the leader yet, and we know he's in that movie. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that's going to be connected somehow to how Thunderbolt Ross ends up being Red Hulk. They've given us no tease at all, no hint at all about why or how he becomes Red Hulk yet.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
He gets struck by a thunderbolt.
Asterisk. And then that makes him, so, real quick, the asterisk thing, it remains stupid because they basically come out and told us for sure what exactly that is.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd put that in the trailer, because you might as well just call it what it should have been all along if that's not the name the team goes with. Like, they basically did some kind of Suicide Squad? Like, they basically did that thing where it's like, we're Thunderbolts, and then they've got to have an argument about the name, and this is a trope with team superhero movies.
Say that again?
That I'm so freaking done with. And I was done with it a long time ago, a decade ago. I'm very, very completely over it now. To the point where it should make me not want to go to the movie. I should be, as soon as you have a character in a trailer that goes, we're Thunderbolts, like Red Guardian, and then somebody else goes, that name's stupid. I don't want. What should we really call ourselves? I should be out. I should just not even go to that movie at this point.
Yeah.
But then they don't show you the asterisks, and then he's like, oh no, let's call ourselves something else, and then asterisks. I'm like, well, we all know that's gonna be Dark Avengers. What else would it be? And also, who cares? Because the only reason you'd call it Dark Avengers would be for the sake of branding. So you can go, we finally made a movie with Avengers in it in the title in the last 5 years, and that's not what you called it in the first place?
I don't know.
What else is even the point of doing that?
Yeah.
It's like they're being counterintuitive to be counterintuitive. Right? It's preposterous. We have a couple super chats.
Yeah, we have a couple super chats from One Reply. He's talking about Captain America here.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to see a movie without multiverse.
Sure. Yeah, me too.
And then he says Thunderbolts.
We've had a couple.
Yeah.
In the middle of the multiverse saga, like Guardians 3 doesn't really deal with the multiverse. You know, we've had a couple things like that.
We haven't had a lot of like Earth stuff, you know.
That's another thing I meant to say though about the Denzel Washington thing is I suggested that they could do soft reboot and now he's T'Chaka. He could also be T'Chaka or even T'Challa aged way up from another reality.
Sure.
That's another thing they could do.
Sure.
Not saying I want that. I'm just saying that's a thing they could do.
And then one reply also says, Thunderbolt's color palette feels like the first time in the MCU where muted tones are used purposefully over violent colors. I love the black tones.
I'm with you. I think they do some of that in Civil War a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look and see if I'm right about that.
Yeah. We gotta do another ding.
Oh, yes, I do have to do another ding. Ding. Fries are done. Okay. Well, those were the two big trailers I wanted to talk about, and then we can briefly hit the What If Season 3. Again, I did not finish the second season. I don't really have a dog in this. That whole thing has lost me, which makes me sad, because What If is one of my favorite things in comics, and they have just completely dropped the ball on this. Yes. I was a little bit of an outlier with the first season before it came out, where people were complaining about the animation, and I was going, let's just wait and see, because if the stories are good, like, I thought it looked okay, and then the more I've had to sit with it, the more I hate that animation style, and so somehow, looking at this trailer for Season 3, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I've got too much of a negative bias now, maybe I'm just sick of seeing this whole thing, and I wish it would have died already. This is last season, mercifully, but I kind of wish it had died already, but I'm looking at it, Jason, and I'm going, it feels like it somehow got lazier.
Yeah.
It actually looks lazier to me now.
Yeah.
That might be just disingenuous, but that was how I felt looking at it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Why are they treating it like the conclusion of an epic trilogy? They're acting like all roads have been leading to it's What If? Yeah. Nobody ever cared about a big, massive, like ongoing narrative, like a beginning, middle, and end to What If. It's almost like they went, nobody really cared that much about this. We're gonna have to cancel it after the third season. So to save face, we're gonna pretend like we had a first, second, and a third act. That's what that's what it feels like.
Sure. Yeah. So did you watch the trailer?
I did.
Yeah.
All you want are just cool, different scenarios that are different from things that happen in their movies. Like I hated the ending of the first season, bringing a bunch of characters together and having a big save the multiverse plot. Like, don't do that.
I don't need that. No.
But yeah, let's talk about the actual trailer.
Yeah. We have a Howard the Duck episode
with Darcy.
Yeah.
Which I remember being announced a long time ago. Is that a follow-up thing? Did they already have a thing with them and now they're doing another one? Or is this the one? I don't even remember now. And I haven't seen all of them. Mm-hmm. But I remember that being news like a long time ago. They're going to do a Howard the Duck Darcy thing. Mm-hmm. So somebody tell me in the comments if I'm remembering this correctly.
And then there are a couple other things. The big thing is Storm, Goddess of Thunder.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I'm glad they're doing more X-Men stuff.
It's weird, though, because it just feels like What If getting ahead of things that the MCU isn't getting to yet. Yeah. So it's all very teasy, you know?
This is our first, like, X-Men thing in the MCU, technically. Like.
Yeah, like, what that episode should be called is What If Disney owned these characters before the Fox merger?
Yes, that's what one of the episodes should be.
And so some people are, excited and freaking out that it's Storm, it's that actress, and I'm like, well, I mean, they had her around for X-Men 97. Yeah. They might have already had that script done, and they could just have her do those lines while she was there.
And they should do like, what if the X-Men, like, what if there were mutants in the earlier phases? Like,
yeah, I mean, that could be cool.
That would actually be cool, and that would be a good, like, going back and, like, doing, like, team things,
Well, the question is, is there, because I don't think, of course, they'll be very smart about this and that we could read anything in it. What I want to say is, and I know the answer to this, what I want to say is there going to be any hint in having X-Men in What If about how the mutant connection will finally happen?
Maybe.
Or is this just a universe that happens to have the X-Men in it? Because I know I know I'm an absolute broken record. But like a mutant, because we don't have mutants right now in the MCU.
You got us.
I know. Oh, that's true. It could just be What If Storm. But see, that's not a very good what if premise. Like, what if she was from Asgard in the first place?
Thor.
I'm an absolute broken record, and I'm sure people are sick to death of. It felt so amalgam. I'm sure people are sick to death of me making this point, but a true what if story is you take a thing that happens in Marvel and somebody makes a different decision, and that makes all roads go a completely different direction. Yes. They've done some things that are kind of like that, lame or otherwise, and then things that are a little bit more Elseworldsy. If you just go, what if the X-Men are already in the MCU? That's Elseworlds. That's not What If. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You have to have a character do a thing that changes the course of history.
Sure.
The X-Men as they are cannot already exist in the MCU. They're going to have to come from another universe. There's going to have to be some sort of reality-altering thing, or they're going to have to all get their powers at the same time when mutanity suddenly pops up, which is probably not the way they're going to do it.
It's like if someone picks a different path and a choose your own adventure book.
Yeah,
and that's just the story of that.
Yeah, that's a true what if, yeah. And sometimes they do that, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, obviously I can't get excited about that. Maybe I'll finally catch up on those. But I have gone back so I did a few select episodes for a blind commentary with What If Season 2. Liked the first one fine, and then was not impressed after that, all the way to repulsed by it. And then I went back and finally watched the 1602 one, because that's a book I like a lot. And it was friggin' dreadful. Like, maybe worse than Marvel Zombies dreadful.
Oh. Dang it.
Yeah, and so they're taking my favorite things.
Right.
That we just can't have nice things. I mean, they're taking my favorite things in Marvel that they'll probably never do proper MCU versions of.
Yeah.
And doing really crappy what ifs with them.
Yeah. Well, they're doing a whole Marvel Zombies show.
I know, in that art style, spinning out of that probably. Anyway, so that's really all I have to say about that. We got 5 minutes. Let's hit a couple more pieces of news here.
Okay, I had a couple other things that I wanted to.
No, sorry, go ahead.
That I wanted to mention news-wise as well. But.
Well, you could go ahead and bring yours up real quick, and we can hit some of this stuff in the second half if we get to it.
Oh yeah. But yeah, we got news for Toy Story 5.
I haven't heard about this yet.
The villain is going to be a bunch of Buzz Lightyears.
Okay, so we don't know what to do with Buzz Lightyear past his initial character arc to its furthest, most extreme possible conclusion. Yeah. What could we do with Buzz this time? I don't know. We'll have evil ones.
Yeah.
So this time, instead of all the Buzz Lightyears speaking Spanish, we'll make them the bad guy.
Yeah. And then Cars 4 seems to be happening.
I did see that.
Yeah, there was a leak kind of where someone messed up.
Well, it looked like they were supposed to announce it at D23, which
then they didn't.
Which is where a lot of the stuff we're talking about tonight is coming from. By the way, really lukewarm kind of turnout for news with D23.
Yeah.
There was some hope that maybe there'd be a Fantastic Four trailer already. That didn't happen. It's like all we're getting is more of the same. There wasn't anything new really, big announced.
It seems like
on the Marvel side.
It seems like they were going to do Cars for D23, and then they just decided to not do that, and then I guess someone forgot about that or didn't know that, but they were like, they put out like a poll that was like, what's your favorite thing that you're excited for?
Right.
And Cars 4 was the first thing. And I'm like, oh.
And that is a franchise that has not had great sequels. And a lot of people don't even like the first movie. I do,
Yeah.
but that has
And I
been
like
such
3,
a
but
that's been such a cash cow for them. It is just merchandising.
Yes.
It's a little surprising that it took them this long to get to even an announcement for a Cars 4 if that ends up happening. I mean, it sounds like it will. But if you think about it, they were pumping those out relatively quickly compared to Toy Story. And Toy Story has already gotten them beat by a movie.
yeah.
You know, unless you count the Planes spin-offs.
Are this supposed to be spin-offs?
Yeah, they're supposed to be in the same universe, but they're not made by Pixar, they're made by Disney Studios. So the animation's not as good, and the writing is really terrible.
Oh. Have
And
you ever actually seen this?
And one of them is direct-to-video. I can't explain to you why I went and saw that first movie in the theater, but it was dreadful.
No.
It had the absolute opposite... I've talked about this, because I think I reviewed it when it came out. I don't know why I did all that. Jason, it had the opposite message and character arc from Monsters University, which is there's a like crop duster plane that wants to be a racing plane, that by the end of the movie gets to be a racing plane even though he's not built for it and he should not be able to do that. It's the opposite arc, because Monsters University was I was really appreciated how mature this theme was for children. It was just, look, there are just some things physically you're not going to be able to do. You know, like you might not be intimidating when you want to be intimidating. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
With the arc for Mike Wazowski in that movie, I loved that. I thought that was wonderful. And then you go to Planes, which was not too long after that. And it was, yeah, crop duster, you can be a racing plane. It's like, seriously?
Oh, man. And then we got some new Super Nintendo World stuff.
Yeah. They did a whole direct about that.
They're doing new Donkey Kong stuff.
I'm
with
really excited about that.
And a minecart ride.
They're doing an entire Donkey Kong section.
Yeah.
Where they're gonna have a minecart roller coaster, which
Yeah.
is the first thing that came to mind when Super Nintendo World was announced. Where I was like, I really want the minecart Carnage ride, and I don't like roller coasters, but I'll go on that crap, man. I'm too big of a Donkey Kong Country guy. So that's coming to Japan later this year, and then Florida's gonna get it next year.
Florida's getting it.
Florida is getting it.
Awesome.
Yes, like summer of next year, I think, or maybe fall of next year. I can't remember.
Awesome.
So when the next time you have to go to Florida for a dance trip, we have got to go there.
Yeah. Which will be next summer.
Hopefully it's open.
Hopefully. And then last thing, real quick. Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and Sean Levy are making a new movie.
Some kind of movie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did hear about that. So that's, I don't know if that's exciting or not.
Yeah.
But we'll see what the project is. I hope it's just very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine it will be a comedy of some kind. We should also probably mention because like I said, Disney did announce some new things that were not Marvel things, even though they didn't announce any new Marvel stuff. They announced get excited, a new Star Wars trilogy from Simon Kinberg.
No.
And the thing, but you got to take this with a grain of salt. The thing you got to keep in mind is the sheer number of not just movies, but trilogies they have announced that have never come to fruition. Seriously. Disney is the boy who cried wolf when it comes to Star Wars movies. Like, they've announced more Star Wars movies than DCEU announced movies with Joker and Harley Quinn in them in the middle of their heyday, and at least a couple of those actually happened. Star Wars hasn't had a new movie in 5 years, and they keep making these Disney Plus shows, but I don't know why they announce anything. I mean, like, they need to learn the lesson I need to learn, which is stop announcing things. Why are they still doing that?
Yeah.
Seriously, like, I should just... Looking at what they've done, I shouldn't have told you guys we were even making a movie, you know, just in case it never comes out. I don't think we have too much to be concerned about with this. I don't think the Simon Kinberg Star Wars trilogy is going to happen. And if it does, they'll make one movie and it'll bomb, and that'll be it. But
Stop announcing. Don't announce a trilogy. Like,
They did
That's
it
getting too
with
far
they
ahead.
did it with Taika Waititi. That was an announced trilogy. They did it with who was it? There's another one. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
That's getting too far ahead of themselves.
Yeah, and you know, they announced they were going to bring Ray back, and I think that was supposed to be like a trilogy. Maybe this is the same project. Maybe now it's like he's doing the Ray thing. I don't even know. But what is it with these guys that... I know I've said this before. What is it with these guys that keep failing upward? You know? Like, the last couple things Simon Kinberg has done, everybody hates. And, yeah, he'll write movies or produce them, but, you know, mostly write stuff that people like okay. And he's got those couple of things that are good, but it's been a very long time. And of course, you know, he directed Dark Phoenix, which is terrible. But I mean, like, he's got that that Kurtzman thing, where we just keep giving him stuff.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not show running an entire franchise. You know, that has like movies and shows and games and everything. You know.
Well, he won't get Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't think he will either, even though they announced it.
Yeah.
So I say feeling upward. I don't think that's actually going to really happen, but they keep doing that. I don't know, it's just preposterous. But like, what is it with these guys that have no vision? They don't have anything to say. Like, how do they get into these kinds of positions?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just sad because like it's never really about the storytelling. But anyway, I'll quit soapboxing. Guys, we appreciate you watching. We have hit the first hour, so we're going to take a break, about 4 minutes or so, and we'll come right back with part 2 when Jason's going to give us a new segment, as he always does. And we'll see what he's going to talk about in the Next Generation segment. Then we'll do some Q&A. So throw us some questions, guys, in the break if you're so inclined, and we'll do a little segment for you at the end as well. So come on back for another hour, and we'll see you in 4 minutes. right, folks, we are back. Second half of tonight's Captain Logan show, and there's a couple of comments I'd like to address before we get to Jason's segment. Omari Daniels, for all of Kinberg's faults, he is a far better producer than writer or director. Yeah, that's definitely true. Just, I think he wrote X2 or co-wrote X2. There's at least one or two superhero movies that he has story credit on that I have to admit that I like. John, the Simon Kinberg trilogy will come out at the same time the Rian Johnson one does. That was the person I was trying to think of. That was the other one. Is that despite what happened with that trilogy and with Last Jedi, they still were going to give Rian Johnson a whole trilogy. And then they didn't. That didn't end up happening. Somebody said, oh yeah, Omari Daniels, there's been more announced Star Wars movies than actual Star Wars movies. Yeah, I mean, it's just a joke at this point. It's nuts. I don't get why they tell us about anything.
Yeah.
It's like, quit announcing things. And who's getting excited about it?
Who cares about new Star Wars anymore,
Well, not just that, but who cares about Kinberg? Like,
well, yeah.
You're going to... I liked this comment. I was saying, like, how do these people keep getting this kind of work when they're not really storytellers with anything to say? And somebody said, who is it? They're Brayden Atkinson. Well, they're both politicians, and that's exactly right. And you just sometimes you wish you could be a fly on the wall and figure out what kinds of strategic decisions these guys are making that keep them working for these studios and doing these massive projects that nobody seems to like. Okay, time for the Next Generation segment. And Jason, you had the floor, man. What would you like to talk about today?
Well, today I have this is going to be a top 5, but it's a 3.
Oh, you could only think of 3.
Well...
Or do you just want to talk about each of them for an obscene amount of time?
Not an obscene amount of time, but just a little bit. These are 3 rock album recommendations from the year 1998.
What?
Yes.
That's so random.
Yes.
I mean, you've been doing a lot of music lately, and I commend that, but why on earth 1998?
Because 1998 has a lot of good records.
Okay, all right. There's no special reason that you went to that date?
No, I think I want to do this. If this goes well, then...
Just different years?
Just different years. If I can think of 3 for a year.
It's kind of like the old Pop Culture Yearbook?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, give us your 3 recommendations from... We'll go all the way back to more than a decade before Jason was born.
Yeah.
What am I talking about? More than 2 decades before Jason was born.
Yeah. And more than a decade.
No, not 2. Yeah, a decade. Sorry.
A decade.
I'm second guessing myself. Like, yeah, I guess it is, right? It's 12 years before. Right. Anyway, sorry, good.
I was second guessing you too. I always second guess you.
I mean, that band's hit and miss, really.
First.
Second guessing you too.
Are they Red Wine? Or...
No, that's UB40.
UB40, yes.
Yeah. U2 is like, beautiful day.
And guess what, Dad? UB40.
I do B40, actually, at this point. That is true.
Okay. The first album recommendation.
By the way, get some questions and topics in if you're watching right now, because right after the segment, we will do some Q&A for most of the rest of the hour. And Tony Casero, I promise you, we will do your question. Go ahead.
Yes, we will. Okay. The first rock album recommendation from the year 1998 is by a little band that not a lot of people have heard of, called Sprung Monkey.
Yes!
This is Mr. Funnyface.
Heck yeah, man. Okay, can I talk about how we found this record?
Yeah.
Mr. Funnyface is a CD that I found at a record store in 2003 or 4. I think it was 2003 for $1. And it just had a weird cover. And I didn't even know what kind of music it was. I figured it was probably like punk rock or hard rock or something. It's a hard rock album. And I've been listening to it ever since.
Yeah.
I play it all the time.
It's actually really good. And you never actually showed me it. You're like mom had to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she had it in her car, and she was just like, "Oh, let's listen to that."
So I wasn't playing it for the longest time because it wasn't on Spotify. That band had like 3 or 4 records on Spotify, and that wasn't one of them. They have subsequently put it there.
Yes, they finally put it there last year, and that's very exciting. My favorite song on this album is "Going for the Angry."
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it is a great song. And I like a lot of other songs on it. Like, the title track is great.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful.
And Get 'Em Out of Here, the first track, is also great. And is a really good, like, oh, this is what this is.
And I like whatever that's called. I
Tired.
need a pill to sleep at night.
Tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really good, like, grunge type, like, punk, or not punk, like,
It's
rock thing.
Yeah, but
I would put it in the
with,
category of
I'm with you
like,
on grunge. Yeah.
But it's also got this like party vibe to it. But yeah, if you like I would say like Nirvana and maybe not. It's not as good as Nirvana, but like
No.
Garbage.
Yeah.
You might like this.
Yeah, sure.
Um
I love that you brought that up. I've never had an excuse to talk about them.
And then an album by another band that had more hits than Sprung Monkey, but
Because they charted some, but they're relatively obscure.
Yeah.
They did show up a couple of times in Buffy,
yeah.
but that was kind of the most fame they ever achieved, I think, is just they're at the bronze in a couple of... I don't know if they're playing on stage or if it's just background music. I think they actually physically show up in that show.
They do. I think they show up in the pilot.
Is it the
I think
pilot
it's
even?
the pilot.
But I think it's twice.
Yeah. This next band has...
I've also never listened to anything else by them. I think I tried. I tried one track on another album at some point. And I wasn't into it, but yeah, I've never tried another album cover to cover
I thought you
by
did.
them. No, I've never done it.
You listened to like the rest of their discography and you just didn't really like it.
I've never done that.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay, weird.
Or if I did, I've completely excised it from my brain.
Maybe I'm thinking of Iced Earth.
Iced Earth, I have listened to a lot of their catalog, and only one other album reaches the heights to me is Dark Saga.
Yeah.
And that is...
It's the 2010 album, 2012,
what is the name of that? It's Dystopia.
Dystopia, yeah. And then the next band has more hits than Sprung Monkey, and it's more of a lighter, like, rock.
Is he going to say Waterdeep?
I would say that this... 98? No.
Yeah, no, I guess that's later.
This is like a... Correct me if I'm wrong on this.
Yeah.
I would say this is like a 2-hit wonder band.
Okay.
Fastball. All the pain money can buy.
Was that 98?
Yes.
Now this is not an obscure album because that opening track was huge. Like, The Way is a massive song, and they had one other hit off that album,
which is called Fire Escape. And...
Oh no, they must have 3 then, because I think that song that's I don't remember the name of it. Am I out of my head? Am I out of my mind? I want to say that was also on the radio.
Oh.
How could I have ever been so blind? I think I'm right about that. I may not be, because I also know that record pretty well, so that might just be one. That might just be a track that stands out to me. But anyway,
but yeah, Fire Escape.
I don't know if anything from another album of theirs ever charted.
Yeah, but Fire Escape is my favorite song from this. But it has some really good stuff. There's some really good electric keyboard on here. That really like stands out to me. It's a really fun. It's a lot more of like a casual, like, chill rock.
Mm-hmm. And they get a little jazzy in places, a little bluesy.
Yeah, especially with that keyboard stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a lot more. It's a lot less like rough.
That's a nigh perfect album.
It's a really good album. Yeah. You want to talk about a perfect album?
Oh, here we go.
Bare Naked Ladies Stunt.
Is that 98?
That is 98.
Yeah. So obviously I was thinking about that album the whole time we were talking here, because Fastball, that's one of the first records I bought. And
Really?
Stunt was, I think, the first new record I ever bought.
Wow. Cool.
And that I would put that in the perfect album category. I adore that album.
It's a really good album.
I also think Maroon is right there with it. Like I think it is nearly as good.
I think it's also really good. I listen to Stunt more than Maroon. I actually hardly ever go back to Maroon, but
Maroon has Asleep at the Wheel, which is one of the great songs of all time.
Which is my favorite Bare Naked Ladies song. So
it's so good.
My
Especially the operatic thing at the end.
Yes,
so good.
My favorite song off of Stunt is "Light Up My Room,"
and we just learned to play that recently.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I think that also might be my favorite song off that album.
This song is very nostalgic for me.
Oh wow. Me too. But
I really like that song was on my childhood CD.
Oh wow, I didn't remember that I did that.
And so I listened to it a lot.
Like a mix CD that we made you?
Yeah. I picked together songs for a mix CD when I was like 4.
Oh, I didn't remember that you picked them. I thought maybe it was just stuff I grabbed that I thought you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I picked them. Well, maybe it was like...
I'm sure there was some Phil Collins on there.
Yes, there was.
You were really into Phil Collins when you were little.
Yeah. But yeah, Stunt is another more of like a casual type record, but it also has some really cool it's got some really good stuff on it.
Bare Naked Ladies is like a more streamlined in straightforward Team EG.
I agree with that.
And
especially writing wise.
Team EG gets thrown in the conversation with them a lot,
yeah.
But they're like a more mainstream version of the Giants.
Yeah.
Except they lost their way somewhere. And like I haven't been in love with the last few albums with the Giants, but they're at least like it's still experimenting and doing their own thing, and it's still them.
Mm-hmm.
B&L at some point just started sounding like everything else.
Oh no.
Which is unfortunate.
Oh.
So they get into a kind of, if memory serves, I mean, I only tried a later album once, and it was rough, I thought, and I never went back to it, but they go to that kind of like poppy auto-tune place.
No! What are you doing? Okay. Well.
And if I'm wrong about that, good, and I'll try it again, but that's what I remember.
Oh.
And they had a couple of hits off Stunt, too.
Yeah.
And weirdly, it was the first 2 tracks. It was very unusual.
Because 1 week... Well, and Who Needs Sleep?
No, that wasn't that wasn't on the radio.
Was that not on the? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
I wasn't there.
I only know about that song because I have the CD.
I just thought that was a hit. But yeah.
This was a treat for me.
Yeah.
You picked a lot of my favorite stuff, but.
Well, and also, speaking of Bare Naked Ladies and TMBG, there's a TMBG song off of Factory Showroom that is just a B&L song.
Which one?
Called Pet Name.
Pet Name is a B&L song.
And it's just a B&L song, and I can imagine him singing that.
Something was in the air right then where those two bands were hitting some of the same beats.
Have you ever seen that clip from the Weird Al show where Weird Al walks into a room and he's like, "Hey, it's my good friends, the Bare Naked Ladies," and then it's like a slow pan because and then it's like, oh, it's just like a band.
No, I have not seen that.
Yeah.
That show was not great.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Are you ready to move on? Anything else you want to say about that?
Nope, that's it.
Well, I can second those recommendations. Those
okay.
Some of my favorite things. And obviously I've got kind of a bias because I introduced you to all that. Or at least this house did. I didn't realize that your mom showed you Mr. Funnyface and I didn't.
I remember she told me to come downstairs and tell you that I need a pillow to sleep at night.
Yeah, because for the longest time I heard that lyric wrong. It's pill stretched out to a couple of syllables, so it sounds like pill to sleep. And when I first heard it, I thought it was pillow. So I was singing it wrong for 3 years. I'll need a pillow to sleep, and then it became about drugs, and I was like, oh
no.
You know.
Do you need questions?
Well, let's do some Q&A before we wrap up the show tonight. Throw in some questions, super chat or otherwise, if you have them, folks. And if we don't have a ton, we'll do our last segment and wrap a little bit early. But we're happy to go all the way.
And if you want to do
2
any more
hours.
news, we can.
Oh yeah, I had a couple other things up here too. Let's go ahead and do a question while we're waiting for more to come in. Okay. If that happens, and then I'll hit 1 or 2 more articles here.
Okay, let's do the question from Tony Casero.
Okay, sure, let's do that.
Cap/Jason. If you had to dedicate 3 years of your life toward one of these awful ideas, which would it be? Dark and gritty SpongeBob or Spawn the Puppet Show?
So it's obviously that question, no contest, but also I am a little put off by the question, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because the premise is faulty. The premise is both of these ideas are awful, and that is patently, objectively not true. Spawn the Puppet Show is not only a thing that, gun to my head between those two, I would absolutely, without question, spend 3 years making that, even though it took me 2 to make Spawn Year. I don't know why it would take
easier with puppets.
I don't know why it would take 3 years to make Spawn the Puppet Show. I don't know what that is. Like, is it Spawn Here again, but with puppets? Like, what is it? But like, not only is that an easy answer, which of those two, but I want to do that. like you feel that as a terrible idea? No, let's do it. Let's make the puppets. Let's make a puppet Violator.
That's what I mean.
And a puppet.
That's what the
Jason
Spawn
Wynn.
movie is going to be, because they can't get it out, so they just have to resort to puppets.
The way my pitch for that would be. Sorry, that was not a sentence. My pitch for Spawn the Puppet Show is it's a Sesame Street parody.
Yeah.
It'd be a straight up Sesame Street parody that's on an alleyway.
Yep.
And it would be Spawn characters teaching you your letters and numbers.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
But with like a lot more blood and stuff.
P is for blood.
Yeah.
Oh,
or
man.
at least there'd be like, maybe I wouldn't actually do blood and gore and stuff because it's not really like my thing. But
Violator.
Yeah, would you make it? There's 2 ways to do it. You either make it intentionally not for children, or the only thing about it that is mature is what is inherently mature in the designs of those characters, but otherwise it's just Sesame Street.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that could be just absolutely hilarious. And you could even kind of make analogs of Sesame Street characters with the Spawn puppets. So like Violator is obviously Cookie Monster, but he's like eating people and stuff, right?
Yes.
And like I don't know who everybody would be, but it would also be really funny if you cast human characters as regular people. Mm-hmm. But like characters from Spawn, so you have a human Wanda.
Oh man,
I think you'd be really funny.
Yeah, it would be really fun.
I kind of love.
Braden Atkinson says to
everything
make it
about
a
this
skit
idea.
in the Superhero Rewind movie.
That's not a bad idea either.
We
I don't think I have the budget though. Like I would have to to build all that for a scene, and like I don't know what the scene would be.
We actually are kicking around an idea of doing like a couple things just like during credits, where it's like we cut to like a couple like different things that we have around.
That would be a thing to cut.
That would be a thing to cut to, but it is a funny idea.
Man, I'm gonna think about them. It'd be fun to try to find somebody that makes really good puppets.
Yeah. To
do Spawn characters. There's a lot of different directions you could go with it. Like I said, you could do the Sesame Street thing, or you could do, like, the story of Spawn convoluted as it is, with puppets.
Yeah.
You know, so you go back to the issues and you do like a whole story that just goes through all of it.
Wanda.
Yeah, that'd be great. You can do like recaps of issues. So you basically
Yeah.
you could make Spawn Year again, but it's not reviews. It's just the issues.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, here's the issue, but it's like you do it in 2 minutes.
That's really funny.
And there's a bunch of ways to do this. No, I love it. That's a great idea, Tony Casero. I don't know if I ever would spend the time or money to do that, but I kind of want to. It sounds really funny. That is the one Spawn thing I feel like I would commit to. Like, full-on commit to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think that would break my brain. I think that would just be fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else?
You wanted to go to news.
Oh, I did. Okay, and now more of the news. So shockingly, somehow, because the world hates me, Venom: The Last Dance.
What?
Boogie's. This is Variety. It is Deadline. Thanks for this title. This headline: Venom: The Last Dance. Boogie's passed for because it's a dance. You see, 400 million at worldwide box office. Why? How did this not bomb? How did Joker 2 bomb? And I mean, I know how Joker 2 bombed. It was terrible. But like, how did that bomb? But this didn't. Why are people so like? I know I say this a lot about a lot of different things. This is all the proof you need that the problem is not superhero and franchise fatigue. But I don't know how you explain this, because this movie is terrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not. Now, how much of it? Now, the question is, how much of it is China? Like, how much of it is here? So, okay, 118 million domestically, 287 international.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just processing these numbers. So what is that, like 3 weeks? That's still, in my mind, a crazy amount for how horrible that movie is.
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing? What is it? What is it with people with this franchise? It's like I feel like this franchise has just ridden on the idea of Venom, which they didn't even get the premise right of in the first place.
No.
But just the notion, I guess, of symbiote that looks cool. It's not even what any of that means in practice.
Yeah.
In, putting a human and a symbiote together to make a new entity or anything. There's no ideas with this thing. It's just like bad,
Especially with this one.
bad dark comedy.
There were absolutely no ideas with this
which
one.
is one of the laziest third movies I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, good lord. I'd rather watch.
Million. What?
I'd rather watch the direct-to-video sequel, Never-Ending Story 3.
Yeah. I want to watch.
Okay, I don't know if I can go that far.
I want to watch the 11th Land Before Time.
Yes, I just want to check in with that. That happened. Once again, like I mentioned earlier, we lost Tony Todd this week. He was 69. At last I saw, there wasn't an official report of how he passed. My guess is, and this is just speculation, and who knows, and I don't know if it's even kosher to speculate about a thing like this, but this might have been one of those situations where he was sick and didn't tell anybody about it. He was starting, like I said, to really show his age, and I kind of wondered when last I saw, like, I saw some cameo videos he did like a year ago, because he was doing not just cameos for like people's birthdays and stuff, but he was doing the professional side of it, where you could get a cameo to have him do voice work for your project. And I watched a couple of those because I was kicking around maybe trying to do that with an actor with something I was doing, and I didn't end up pulling the trigger on that, but I was kicking around with different actors, and he was one of the people I was looking into. And anyway, I was thinking, and this is going to sound like I'm making this up retroactively. I'm not. I remember thinking he's either starting to look his age, or he's kind of sick. I couldn't tell, and so I sort of wondered. But anyway, really sad. And this one hurt my feelings, because again, out of the blue, and like 69 is not super young, but it's not super old either, and it's just a guy I never thought about his mortality. It's sort of like James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
This one hit harder because James Earl Jones was a lot older. Tony Todd, I met in person at a convention once, and somehow he had no line when I was there. You would have expected that to be long. It was kind of a smaller con, and I think I maybe just got to him at the right moment. But I had him sign my Batleth because he plays Worf's brother in TNG and DS9, Kern, and I have a Batleth that I have signed by a bunch of actors that played Klingons. And I almost accidentally stabbed him in the foot with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he signed that, and we talked for a good 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes together. That was around when Chuck was still on, and he was in that show. And he and I were both speculating that it was probably going to get canceled soon.
Oh.
Neither of us thought that show would continue. His character, spoilers for that show, but his character was recurring and got killed off, and he played like a government agent guy. And anyway, that show went for 5 years. It's shocking.
Yeah.
But he stars in my favorite episode of DS9. So he has his recurring character of Kern, and then he plays both a Herosian and maybe a Gemini. Is he ever a Geminar? I'm actually not sure. He's definitely a Herosian in Voyager. I think the first Herosian in Hunters and Prey. And then in whichever of those episodes he's in. And then in DS9, though, besides Kern, he also plays a futuristic elderly version of Jake Sisko in an episode called The Visitor, which is my absolute favorite episode of that series. I don't know if you've seen that.
I think I've never seen that.
Ooh, we should sit down and watch it together. Yeah. I'm thinking about doing a commentary stream for that episode.
Yeah.
In memory of him. I want to do some Tony Todd thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I'm kind of kicking around, because everybody knows him for horror stuff, for Candyman and stuff. But I fell in love with this actor for Star Trek, of course. And DS9 has this big track record of major, well-known and liked horror actors that get recurring roles where they do some of their absolute best work. And he was one of them. So anyway, just wanted to do a little tribute to Tony Todd there. I can't get my mind around that. Yeah. So Macaulay Culkin is apparently going to be in Fallout Season 2 as some sort of like genius computer hacker type guy or something. Will
he be in a vault? Will he be in the wasteland? How, like...
My big question with this is not why Macaulay Culkin. It's why is this the first high-profile thing of its kind that he's really done in a very long time? Like, Macaulay Culkin is, I don't know, maybe he's, because I think he's a gamer. I mean, maybe he just saw the first season and really liked it and likes that property in the first place and wanted to be involved. Because he gets calls all the time to do stuff, and he turns down damn near everything. And he's done a lot of independent stuff, but he doesn't like to commit to high-profile work. And so it's maybe actually a little surprising that he's doing a thing like this that might be a recurring character even. But who knows? Maybe it's a one-off. Maybe it's one episode. Maybe he dies in it. Like who knows? But I'm just surprised that he's finally doing a thing this high-profile.
Yeah.
I saw an article that was like, here's a name you probably haven't seen in a while, and I'm like, well, yeah, unless you're like a nerd or a geek that's online a lot, because he shows up in a lot of web shows.
Yeah.
You know, because he's been in Red Letter Media, he's been on AVGN, so like I've seen him a decent amount the last few years, and so this was surprising to me just because he doesn't do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm more surprised that you brought this up because I completely forgot about this. I gotta watch the rest of the first
I guess I was a little
season,
surprised that you didn't bring it up.
Yeah, I just forgot about it.
Okay, what else are folks talking about, if anything?
John is very excited for Fallout Season 2.
Well, and I know you keep wanting me to watch the pilot so I can decide if it's cool for you to keep watching it.
I might just keep going.
Well,
because like I was more wanting to see your thoughts on it too.
well, yeah, but I thought you were kind of unsure if I would even let you watch it.
Yeah.
So in that case, I do need to sample it. I'm sorry I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Just keep reminding me. I'll do it.
Okay.
I promise. Don't keep watching it, though. Because if you watch the pilot and you were like, I don't know if I'm even allowed to watch this, I kind of don't want you to watch the next episode until I've seen it.
Sure. I mean, I think I'm fine, but...
Well...
I don't know if you're...
You don't get to make that choice, though. That's just not how this parent thing, son thing works.
Oh.
let me take a look at it. But anyway, but I apologize that I've not done that yet. All right. Anything else? Dan Culkin always claims he's done with acting and then he does something new. I've never heard him say that. It's just, again, he always says, like, I just will take a part that is really interesting and I'm excited about, but they're always really small independent things. And, like, he'll do his own projects. So I wonder if that'll open up the floodgates where he'll start doing a lot more acting.
Yeah.
He also just might finally be at a time in his life where he's, like, ready to be more public again.
Sure.
So anyway, well, do we have any more questions or ideas that we should discuss, or should we go ahead and just go to our last segment?
Let's do another Patreon question.
Okay, we'll do one more of those. And if we don't see anything else, then we'll go ahead and go to our last segment.
We have a Patreon question from the Amalgamation.
Oh, yes.
Have you spoken with DJ about his return, and of any future series you guys can do together?
So, DJ and I, our schedules just don't line up the best. Like, he was, obviously doing this show with me for the longest time. Most of what I do is really late at night, with the exception of this show. And so, like, we could invite him back for this if we had something that wasn't, as newsy, because he's just not into that. And so, like, if we had some kind of topic we wanted to discuss, like, I'm sure I could get him back if we wanted to do something with him. There is a regular series I'd like to do with him if he's game, but I don't have the time right now, so I haven't pitched it to him yet.
Oh, okay.
So I would like to get him back. Right, we haven't had him on anything in a long time. I would like to get him back on a monthly or a couple times a month basis if he's available, when I'm available.
Yeah.
But I'm just not right now. I gotta get the movie done before I can do another regular show of any kind. I've got all these extra things I want to do that I have not even been prioritizing lately, because I've got to get more of this movie edited and we got to finish shooting it. We had a meeting last night where we figured out just what was left, and it's crazy how much we've done. We are still going to be shooting through January at least, because it's going to take just coordination and stuff, getting schedules together. It's going to take at least that month to get the climax made. But we've got some things we can shoot before that. And it's going great. It's just taking up a lot of my time. So, like, I want to get back to collection stuff, and I started doing blind reactions to Wizard Magazine, which I loved. It was a lot of fun doing that first one. I actually started in on the second one, and then something came up and I had to quit, so I deleted that because I only got 20 minutes in. So I got to go back and do that at some point, which sucks because I was trying to line the months up, and I didn't get one for October because like a kid woke up or something, and I had to run off, and I couldn't do it in like a minute or two, and so I was like, okay guys, sorry, I'm gonna have to go, and so I had to shut it down. But anyway, that's not what you asked. Obviously I miss DJ. He and I still text quite a bit. Like we're still in touch and want to do stuff, but he can't stay up late like I do for most of this stuff, and so if it's not this show, it's not anything right now. So anyway, hopefully at some point in the not too distant future we'll have him back for some stuff. Okay, Jason and I are gonna do a father-son Q&A segment now.
Yes.
We haven't done one of these in a little while, and so I've got a thing I'm going to ask Jason, and Jason's going to ask me something. I'll let you go first this time.
Oh, okay.
I'm between two. I'm trying to decide which one I'm gonna land on here.
I have it here. Okay. I'm gonna set up the scene here. Okay. You're facing charges for tax fraud. Which Super Smash Brothers character do you want as your lawyer?
The way you said that, I thought it was gonna be multiple choice.
No.
Okay, Smash Brothers character.
Yes. What Smash Brothers character is your lawyer?
Somehow I thought this was gonna be like a really serious, thought-provoking question,
Yeah.
and then it turned into one of these.
Yes.
Oh man. A lot of Smash Brothers characters just like don't even talk much, you know. Like it ain't gonna be Wario, you know.
He'll just eat people.
It ain't gonna be Yoshi.
He'll just eat people.
It ain't gonna be Bowser.
He'll just
Well, you might have stumped me with this. And then I wish I had a list in front of me because I don't know the Smash catalog as well as you do.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna go with Wii Fit Trainer.
Sure. Now, the female version or the male version?
The female version, I guess. That's the one I've seen. I'm going to go with Duck Hunt as a lawyer.
Yeah.
No, is there a definitive answer here?
There probably is.
Who in Smash would be good at that job? Would be a good lawyer?
I'm trying to think. Maybe... See, yeah, I wish I had a thing in front of me, too. Maybe one of the...
Well, Dr. Mario, you know, he's at least accredited for something. Like, he at least went to college.
Sure. Yeah, maybe one of the RPG characters, like... oh my gosh, I want Bayonetta as my own
Bayonetta?
attorney.
Yeah, that'd be good.
No,
she's probably a better pick than Wii Fit Trainer.
Yeah, Kirby would also just eat people.
There's a running theme happening here. I don't know. Maybe Falco.
Yeah, or Fox. Not Wolf.
No, I'm gonna go with Falco.
Okay, yeah. But also not Captain Falcon.
No, but he seems capable.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say maybe like Shulk or Cloud.
Kind of steadfast and. He'd call it like he saw it, you know. He's got a lot of confidence.
Simon Belmont, maybe?
Maybe. That's such a goofy question. Okay, Jason, here's my question. You okay? You need some water?
No, I'm good.
Here's my question to you.
Is this one also serious?
Yeah, halfway. It's not like that. So... Just from what you have, and you can't cheat and pick anything that I already owned before you were born, okay? So, just with what you've accumulated, whether it's stuff that, like, technically is, because it's sort of sticky, right? Like, there's some sort of communal stuff in the house that I don't really know where, like, my ownership begins and yours ends or whatever. But just of stuff that you've accumulated since you were born. Mm-hmm. If the house was on fire, what would be the first thing that you went after? And like it could be 2 or 3 if you can't think of one. But basically, like, what is your most prized possession, you would say?
I don't know. The fire question I don't really like because I feel like I would just run.
Sure.
You know? Like I feel kind of stupid being like, oh man, my house is on fire, I'm gonna go grab my Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's just a euphemism. It's
right.
the same thing as, like, gun to my head, you know what I mean? Like...
But that
So you don't have to think about the scenario, but just what do you think is
my favorite? Yeah,
is the thing that you're most, like, continue to be most happy that you managed to procure
That I have.
in whatever way. Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Virtual Boy's up there. I don't know. I have lots of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have lots of DSs. I have some good video game stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that would probably be the main category at least.
Right,
Would
probably.
be retro game stuff.
And I'm actually
Because I mean, you have some cool like museum quality, video game stuff.
trying to think of what some other stuff are that I have. I
Sure.
have this. I need to figure out how this thing actually works, but I have this big like stack of like there's like a VHS player in there and like a radio thing and like there's a huge stack of things from like the early 90s.
Yeah, because Jason collects old just tech like electronics.
And I'm also starting a new collection,
Uh-oh.
which is VHS clamshells.
Oh yes.
I have.
I didn't know about this.
I am actually going.
So you're going
to
to collect specifically clamshells.
Yes, I'm
Cool.
not. I'm not collecting anything else VHS, just clamshells.
And I mean that's going to be mostly Disney, but there is stuff that's not Disney.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, okay, do I want to stay Disney or get the other stuff too? But
Maybe we can do that together because I want to we could look for VHS at the same time.
yeah,
Because you would go after clamshells and I would go after superhero.
yeah,
Because I have some superhero VHSs, but that's a collection I'd like to build up the same way I have DVD and Blu-ray.
sure, yeah. But yeah, I am saying that I am actually going to start that. So
Cool.
because I have like 12 or 13 right now.
And those look pretty on a shelf.
They do.
And that'll just look good.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to make some trips to the vintage stocks in the area because the last time I was at both the Shiny Mission and the 95th Street store, they both had.
And the mall one has a bunch.
They both had quite a bit, yeah. And that's a fairly inexpensive thing still to collect.
Yeah,
so
it is.
you might want to grab
You get them,
those
like,
now
$3 a pop.
in case something weird ever happens with VHS. Yes. I don't anticipate that, but it could.
Hey, I mean,
Could
you
it?
didn't expect it for Nintendo 64.
Well, and I mean that's happened with retro games across the board, but like,
retro games in general, like that era is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that like Saturn and Dreamcast.
I
era
just
is
feel like
weird.
anything is possible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But there's so many VHS tapes, you know.
But yeah, Jason has like a Walkman.
Yeah.
And like old audio recorders.
I have
and
multiple Walkmans.
do you really?
Yeah.
And you have a really cool like analog radio.
Oh yeah, I did get that. Yeah.
Aren't you still using it? I thought it was like plugged
No.
up and you were using it.
I need to plug it back up.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of those now. I forgot because I just got one, and then I have an alarm clock radio. That is very cool.
We have a Laserdisc player.
Yeah.
That we finally used.
We watched
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams on it.
And had to flip it over
Oh boy.
in the middle. That was pretty cool. And Adam got me a Laserdisc set of, and it's sealed. I'm still like back and forth on whether I'm gonna open it.
Oh yeah, because I actually got you Field of Dreams.
Yes.
On Laserdisc. I forgot that's.
But-
I was kicking around that in '89, but I decided to go for Field of Dreams.
Oh man, I need to get that for '89
Yeah.
because I still want to do that collection of '89 in every format.
Yeah,
And, every release
I was
can
gonna
get my
get you
hands
a
on.
bundle for your birthday that was the '89 Laserdisc and the Nintendo Power with '89 on the cover, but
That would have been cool.
I might do that, but you'll probably get the Laserdisc, so
That would
in between your
that would
birthdays, so.
that would excite me. Well, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I haven't started on the collection yet.
I mean,
I don't think I bought that Laserdisc yet. Have I?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think I've got that. But yeah, Adam got me a sealed box set. It's got a really pretty uh, box that the discs go in, for the Star Trek movies up through Generations that came out in I think 95.
It's awesome.
And I'm still like this on whether I'm going to open it.
Oh, I have a nice Xbox One.
A nice Xbox One.
Xbox One.
Oh, you do have a nice Xbox One.
Yeah. That's the thing that I own.
Yeah, that's true. I thought you said Xbox One, like one of those, but Xbox, and I was like, what does that mean?
Man, these
Stupid
titles.
Xbox with their Anyway,
and I own Super Mario Advance. Yep. That is my most prized possession.
okay.
I remember you got me that when I was 7 for my birthday.
Oh, okay. So it's actually kind of special.
Yeah.
For you, because I thought you were just being silly.
You got me that and Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Wow, I didn't remember that.
And then I played Mario Kart Super Circuit for the first time on a Geekvolution video. And that was back when Donkey Kong was my main.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Now my main is Toad. But I call him Todd.
We're just kind of talking about whatever right now, and we'll go ahead and finish up the show. But I'll wrap up with this. Jason got me started on the Paper Mario for Wii.
Super Paper Mario, yeah.
I played the first couple levels of that today. It's wild. I've never played anything like that.
Yeah.
Why don't they make another one like that? Because black. But yeah. Super Paper Mario, so the Paper Mario series is RPGs, and this is kind of like ostensibly an RPG. It still keeps a lot of the RPG elements, but it's much more platformer than any of those ever are. And so it sort of
will be.
Yeah, it sort of feels like it's just kind of masking all the RPG elements, like repackaging them as a platformer. But it's got this really neat mechanic where you flip back and forth between 2D and 3D, and so there's places where you can't advance unless you go into a 3D mode, and you can only do it for a limited amount of time. Mm-hmm. And then there's just also secrets and things that you'll find if you go into 3D.
It's very cool.
As old as that game is, kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah. No,
it's just it's crazy inventive.
It's one of the better Paper Marios.
That's the kind of thing that Nintendo is so good at. Mm-hmm. Is just, here's this really bizarre mechanic that should not work.
Yeah.
And is the coolest friggin' thing. And then they just keep throwing, you know what retroactively it's reminding me of? Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like Mario Wonder in that it's like, here's another insane thing you never would think that you'd run into in a level. Like, I can't wait to play more of it. I can't wait to play more of it just to see what the next thing is. Plus, DX says that game is whack. People don't like it.
Yeah. People don't like that game.
But I'm really so far digging on it. Maybe I'll... But I'm not a big RPG guy.
Right. Yeah, I prefer it over some others.
I don't like how long it takes to get into the gameplay.
Yeah.
You have to sit there for 9 years reading pointless dialogue. That's annoying.
With Count Black.
Yeah, why do all the villains in that look like they retroactively came out of Milan Wonderworld?
Yes, they do. That's a good point. Yeah, my favorite Paper Mario is still the original N64 Paper Mario, but
yeah, and I started playing that last summer and I was liking it,
but Super Paper Mario is a neat spin on it.
Push DX says people used to hate it, now a lot of people like it. It's so inventive. I don't know what else to say about it. But I'm in the middle of that first level, and all of a sudden, and like, it's already blowing my mind, with just crazy stuff that happens. And then you're and just how much fun the 2D to 3D is. And then you get to toward the end of that level, and all of a sudden you turn into this massive 8-bit Mario.
Yes.
And you crash everything.
Yes.
And Mikey walked in, or Mikey was sitting next to me when I did that, and I think Selena walked in, one of my twin girls, and she couldn't believe what she was seeing. She was like, "Whoa, Dad, you're Mario and you're breaking everything." It's so cool.
And Kanto Tour 1000-Year Door is also good.
And I think we have that too. We have most of the Paper Marios.
We have
That's
About half of them, yeah.
That's one of the ones on GameCube, right? Didn't GameCube get 2?
No.
Or was it just the one?
That's the one.
And I think Thousand Year Door got a re-release.
It just got a remake on Switch, yeah.
Okay.
This year. Yeah, we have 4 of the Paper Marios. We don't have Color Splash, which is a Wii U game. And then we don't have Paper Jam. And then there might be another one on 3DS that I don't know, that I don't remember.
Okay.
That's not Paper Jam.
Dan's Den says Super Paper Mario just had a lot of people being disappointed. It wasn't what they wanted. That's what I always heard. That was always the complaint, is just, well, that's not what that series is supposed to be. And I don't have a dog in it because I never played those. But I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, I really like Bowser's Inside Story. If I played a Mario and Luigi game that all of a sudden was a lot more platforming, would I be horribly disappointed? I don't know that I would be, just because I really like platformers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe it's just me where there's this kind of intersection where, like, I can maybe get into an RPG if it's the right sort of style, because I like rhythm-based combat and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if it's not too overly complicated with its inventory and, it's not too hard to tell where you're supposed to go. I like a really linear RPG because I'm just not a big RPG guy, and I don't love grinding at all. I got better things to do. Let me just run through it.
Yeah, we're missing Paper Mario Sticker Star and Paper Mario Color Splash, which is a 3DS game and a Wii U game. And then there's Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which is a Mario and Luigi.
It's a crossover.
Paper Mario crossover
because they had
on 3DS.
both sets of those characters.
Yeah. Because they have 2 Mario RPGs. Technically 3.
Maybe I'll try to play through those at some point.
Yeah, and I've heard that Sticker Star is terrible, and I've
heard that too.
I think I've heard that Color Splash is also bad, but
well, I'll play the ones we have.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've heard great things about the one on Switch, and Freddie really liked it. I just haven't played it.
Yeah, Origami King.
We've had that forever. I just have never done it.
Yeah. I couldn't get too far in it, but
did you get stuck or did you just not care?
I think I just only played it for like some amount of time, and then I had to do something, and then I just got busy.
Well, guys, we appreciate you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next Wednesday with another one. Tomorrow night, Austin and I are doing a request for Injustice Year Zero or Zero Year or whatever that's called. I think it's Year Zero. And then Friday night, the wheel last week unfortunately landed on Hancock for the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project. So we're going to do that at probably 9, possibly 10 Central. I'll put out, we keep going back and forth with the time for that show, but I'll put out an official time Friday morning. And like I said, I'm a little bit slim right now on extra streams because I need time for editing the movie and stuff. So we might be a little sparse with extra stuff between now and Christmas, and I may need to take some of December off. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a full-blown hiatus yet, but my wife's taking the last 2 weeks of the month off, and we're going to have a lot of traveling and things, so obviously at least some of that I'm going to have to take off, but I just wanted to give everybody the heads up that I might be a little out of pocket for the rest of the year, but I'll let you guys know what's going on. We'll have some stuff this week, and then I'll let you know what's going on past that, but I appreciate everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and in the meantime, and Jason, thanks for modding and for your segment and all you do for the show.
We are the all of you.
What's that?
You said in the meantime.
I have no idea what that's over my head.
It's a Space Hog song.
Oh, Space Hog. You're right. Sorry. I didn't realize that's what you were doing.
Anytime.
Now I get the melody. I get it now.
Anyone says in the meantime, I can't do it.
You go to that? All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. I was Captain Logan. This was Jason.
That was me.
Good night, folks.
Good night.